Alright, so this is the follow-up to yesterday's video. This topic needs like a video to itself, and it's the possibility of Loki having his own version of the Sun God Nika fruit, and it's actually this depiction that we see of him in chapter 1136. So forgive me for repeating myself, but I have to go over this part of the chapter again to establish what we're going to be discussing. So we see Road talking to the Straw Hats, and he said that essentially everyone in Elbaf shares the same dream of becoming the sun god and ruling the world. Then we hear some division amongst the giants about the lore of Sun God Nika. Some are saying that he isn't a ruler, some are saying that he's the god of liberation, some saying the god of destruction, and then some saying that everyone knows that he's the god of laughter. So that right there is kind of making this duality, I suppose. And we talked about how the history of Nika could support this. Whether there was 2 or 3 versions of Nika, or 2 or 3 holders of the devil fruit, it still remains to be seen, but there is this liberating and destructing duality to it. 2 sides of the same Nika coin. And now either that means that in history, Nika has both liberated and destroyed at 2 separate points, or there are 2 different Nikas altogether. Now going further into the chapter, Jarl says that these sacred Harley texts have been passed down in Elbaf for generations, but it's written in an archaic language. So it has multiple translations and they're not sure which one is the most accurate. So as a result, it's said that the world has been destroyed twice before, and the name Sun God Nika comes after each instance. Who can say if he's the world's savior or the great destroyer who brought it crashing down? All we know for sure is that he heralds great change. And then we see the Elbafian depiction of Nika, which is very different from the depiction that we originally saw from Who's Who looks more Shandian, I guess you could say. And this depiction of Nika could possibly be what Loki's devil fruit is. Now, Loki is discussed more in this chapter because later on it's explained that in his youth he would go to use his natural strength to make the realm of the dead his own personal playground. He would tame and kill beasts and also release them into villages. He was also an arsonist, and his mischief endangered countless lives. And in this panel we see Loki laughing the same exact way that Luffy does when he's in Gear 5, like his Sun God Nika transformation. And that's just yet again another parallel between Loki and Luffy. And since he is doing this laugh, it's very possible that he has, like saying, this analog to the Sun God Nika devil fruit. Because as we see in the background, it's like the village burning. And that can go into the divisive lore about Nika. Some saying he's the god of liberation, some saying he's the god of destruction. That's why there could be 2 different fruit. Luffy has the god of liberation, Sun God Nika devil fruit, as to where Loki has the god of destruction, Sun God Nika devil fruit. Now, technically this shouldn't really be a thing because it's essentially 2 fruits that are the same person in a way. I'm not really sure how this works. I mean, Oda kind of talked about this in an SBS where someone asking a question said, Usopp said that there are no 2 powers that are the same in this world, but this seems to be a bit different from what was being said in a question corner in volume 45. Since the Gum Gum fruit is in the encyclopedia, that means the one Luffy ate couldn't be the first one of its kind. And then Oda said, "You're pretty sharp, but it's okay. I haven't said anything contradictory. Here's a hint for you. I'll put what Usopp said in a slightly different way. In this world, no 2 powers exist at the same time. Is that easier to understand? There is a certain scholar who will appear in the upcoming story who will explain what the devil fruits are soon." So that doesn't really clear things up, at least into relation to what we're talking about. But also the character that he's talking about who will explain what devil fruits are soon is obviously Vegapunk, and he didn't really do that. What Vegapunk said was, every devil fruit is a possibility for human evolution that someone desired. All of those powers represent the many branches of the future of humanity. So that's part of it, but we still don't know the origin of them entirely, which, you know, we probably won't know for many years. But I think this concept is what led to the creation of the Sun God Nika devil fruit in the first place. Someone desiring strength, or someone else to have the strength to be able to liberate everyone, since we know that the history of the One Piece world is large in part about slavery and class division. And that goes into what we originally heard about Nika from Who's Who, when he said apparently there was a figure that slaves would pray to in a long distant past, a legendary warrior they believed would free them one day. The Sun God Nika. Did he exist, or did they dream him up? They thought he'd bring smiles to their faces and deliver them from suffering. So I think that quite literally explains the origin of Nika and the devil fruit. Now, there could be another side to that coin, as we've been talking about. There could be the more angry people that were in slavery or oppressed in some way that weren't just hoping for liberation, but were hoping for destruction. You know, instead of freeing them from the oppressors, they wish for someone to come and destroy the oppressors, destroy everything. And that could lead to this other version of the Sun God Nika devil fruit. Now, also, that raises the question of, like, why isn't there more devil fruits like this that are essentially the same thing but slightly altered? I mean, there kind of is with, you know, the various levels of devil fruits, like with elemental aspects to them or weight changing properties, etc., but this is very specific. You know what I mean? It's freaking Sun God Nika specifically, and two variants of what he is and what he represents in a devil fruit. And Loki hypothetically having this fruit could make more sense because it said that it was legendary. That's how he got the fruit. It was a legendary fruit passed down through the Elbaf royal line, and he killed his father Harold to eat it, along with him claiming that he is the sun god when we first meet him. I mean, that's not too crazy since we know that all of the Elbafians desire to be the sun god. Even Rode himself claimed that he was the sun god at the beginning of the arc. But it all could just mean that Loki does have this analog to the mythical Zhoniin Sun God Nika devil fruit. It could go back to what the giants are arguing about in the beginning of this chapter. Some say he's the god of liberation, some say he's destruction, but everyone knows he's the god of laughter because they both laugh. Loki laughs as he causes destruction, and Luffy laughs as he causes liberation. But at the end of the day, I'm wondering, like, if this is true, why don't they just say it? Like, when Jarl is talking to Luffy and the Straw Hats in this chapter, why doesn't he just say, yeah, and just like Loki's devil fruit, you know? Like, this would be the perfect opportunity to mention that, but it is One Piece, and characters communicate like this sometimes, and we don't find out the truth until later. You know, it's kind of like a vocal silhouette, if you will. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.